Hello YouTube, what's slicing everyone? Here for another knife review video. Something very special today that I kind of put together myself using only Etsy sellers. So, I'm pretty excited to get into this one and to show you guys what I built here. As a lot of people have been watching my channel throughout the last year, no, I do not like basic stuff. And I always like to have something with, different scales, different clips. I don't like having more than one of the same thing in my collection. None of my collection will look similar. You pull one knife out, you're not going to pull another knife out that looks like it. That's how I like to do things. And I've definitely accomplished this with this build. This is a Spyderco Tenacious. And before we get into that, just to show you, if you go back and watch my review of my PM2 that I did end up selling, I'll probably get another paramilitary at the end of the year here. But the Tenacious is a knife that was designed in Colorado, but it is made in China. It's one of Spyderco's made in China knives, but trust me, it is still good quality, still comes in the box, has the sticker, has the warranty and all that. Of course, my warranty is going to be void because I took it apart and did all this to it. But if you just have a regular Spyderco knife that you haven't really messed with, then you should be good to go. Now, let's give a good showing of the knife here. And I will talk about what I did to it, if it isn't completely obvious already. And I show you some size comparisons and give my thoughts on the Tenacious compared to, say, a paramilitary. I kind of wanted a Halloween themed build that I kind of can do myself. So the colors I chose were orange and purple. Orange is my favorite color. Purple complements orange very well. And the first thing I knew I needed was, of course, a Tenacious knife. And I was just trying to find the best price, really. And then on Etsy, I came across this this custom shop. If you go on Etsy and just type in Spyderco Tenacious Engraving, you'll see this custom shop that engraves the blades. And I asked him, I said, hey, can you do anything that's Halloween themed? And he sent me a few pictures, and I would have probably preferred a pumpkin, but the pumpkin he had looked kind of cartoonish, and I wanted evil, and the bats were the most evil looking thing, so that's what I went with. And he did a pretty good job, as you can tell. I mean, it's not going to be the exact same color as Spider there, but that's okay. And then there's another Etsy shop, Screw for Less, I think is what they're called. I actually have another screw set for my custom CRKT Pilar that I'm very excited to show off. And once it gets here and I put those screws on, I'll be showing that on the channel. But the purple clips, or the purple screws, and the purple titanium clip were done by his shop. It is titanium, and it's a very good titanium clip. I like this a lot better than the Spyderco clip that the Tenacious usually comes with. And it's kind of a blasted purple. I didn't really want a shiny purple for this. Example of a shiny purple would be kind of what's on my Ontario Rat here. But and then these scales are actually 3D printed scales. I don't know if you can kind of tell that they're 3D printed, which honestly, compared to the FRN scales that the knife comes with, I wouldn't necessarily say there's a huge difference. Because he is using some of the toughest resin on the market, and it looks very good, it feels very good, it carries good, and I definitely think that these are a step up, honestly, from the FRN scales, not just in looks, but in quality and function. So those are the three things that I did to it. Of course, you gotta take it apart and put it back together. I think the Tenacious is one of the easiest knives to disassemble and reassemble because it's just a simple lockback with one pivot screw. Be aware that when you're taking it apart, the pivot bar here that goes in and across does have to be facing a certain way to get it to line up with the scale on the other side. But it isn't too difficult. There's plenty of other channels videos that show you how to take a Tenacious apart and put it back together. It's a very popular knife. I would argue this, if you're just getting into knives, you don't know if you're going to like Spyderco, Tenacious is a very good starting point if you don't want to spend a lot of money, you don't want to buy a clone, you still want to buy an actual Spyderco. Tenacious would be what I'd recommend, 100%. And of course, when I took it apart, I lubed it up with some KPL. And yeah, so there's all the mods that I did with the knife. And let's just kind of show you the size of the Tenacious in case you have never seen one, which will surprise me because the Tenacious is even in some Walmarts across the country, but maybe you haven't seen one. I would say the Tenacious is a little bit bigger than average EDC size. You can see it here beside the Penguin and the Rat 2, which are, in my opinion, average EDC size knives. Tenacious is a little larger, both in handle and in blade length. You can see I kind of tried to do a little different camera angle today for both lighting and for being able to see these size comparisons a little better. Let me know what you guys think about that. I changed it around a little bit. Hopefully it looks better on the camera. Also trying to be a lot easier putting knives down on the desk, as I've noticed that it shakes the camera a lot. Here's also a Civivi Elementum, what I would argue in modern times is the most popular knife out there. And then here's a Rough Rider Trapper. I figured we'd throw that in there so you guys can see a knife comparison next to a more traditional knife. I know a lot of people out there, like myself, still collect some traditional knives, so there you go. So let's get into the review on the actual Tenacious itself. The Tenacious is an 8CR13 MOV blade steel and original FRN handles, or you can get G10, and you usually find them for between $50 and $60. They are made in China. They are Spyderco branded, and I'm just going to tell you right now, being Spyderco branded is going to increase the price a little bit if you don't look at materials. Spyderco is what Great Value is to General Mills and cereal. Spyderco is to, say, you know, Gonzo or Civivi. Spyderco is the name brand, though I would argue Civivi has become a major name brand as well. But the Tenacious is a very comfortable, very good carry, very robust, long-lasting, high fidget factor knife. Materials-wise, the base model is overpriced for sure. For $50 to $60, 8CR13 MOV, and you know, made in China and FRN handles, not going to be worth it. I'm just going to tell you right now, $50 to $60. I can name plenty of knives that are $50 to $60 that have better material, also made in China. Let's go back to this Best Tech here that I got Monthly Knife Club here. You know, this knife has D2 steel, which is definitely an upgrade from 8CR13 MOV. It's larger. Compared to the FRN version, it has more work done to it, both on the blade and on the handles. Also made in China, but this is on bearings, where the Tenacious is on washers, and they cost about the same price. If anything, the Best Tech is a little bit cheaper usually. So yeah. It's definitely not worth its price, though. I would not say as a company, Best Tech is on the same level as a Spyderco. Spyderco uses that name and their very unique look and style of their knives to be able to upcharge a little bit. And, you know, it still works even to this day. Spyderco is one of the top dogs in the knife world, and everybody loves them, including myself. Spyderco is my favorite production knife brand. It's just something about a Spyderco that you just gotta love and appreciate. When I first got into knives, I thought these things looked ugly. I really did, and it's funny how many other people on other channels I've heard say that, but I thought these knives were very ugly looking, and, you know, eventually I was like, man, everybody else is getting one, let me get one. I want to see what they're all about. And I got a pair of 3, and I was like, wow, this thing is fidget level max. Just putting that spider hole in there, not only is it easy to use, easy to function, but, you know, like, just, yeah, you can just open it in so many ways, and they're still really usable. They, you know, have nice swedges in most of their blades, and they've pretty much hit everywhere on the market with the, you know, the smock having the button lock, and then, you know, there's just so many Spydercos now. The salt being able to be taken down with you into the ocean and not rust is just crazy. I mean, Spyderco's definitely, they've definitely pushed themselves in there. Would I recommend the Tenacious? Oh yes, you'll love this knife. You will love this knife to death, even just the basic model. But even with the Tenacious, there's so many different things you can do to the knife out there if you want to customize it and make it yours. Clearly, as I did here, the Paramilitary 2 and Paramilitary 3 are probably the most customizable knives that exist. You can find infinite types of handle scales for those knives, for screws, for pocket clips, you know, blade switches. There's people that even make custom Damascus blades to swap out your original. You can make a whole Spyderco Para 3, get a production one, keep the liners from the production one, and buy everything else and build your own, which is crazy. If Spyderco just sold like liners for a lot of their knives, I don't even know if they'd sell their whole knives sometimes, because people can literally just buy every other part single-handedly by themselves and switch everything out. Now this knife here with all these customizations, it ran me about 110, 115 bucks, which to me isn't bad. You know, this is the first time I've ever literally taken a knife fully apart to have to add every little mod to it. I've never actually changed scales out myself. A lot of my knives have came with unique scales on them already. Yeah, they're showing you the disadvantages to washers. Off camera, I could probably drop shut it. Yeah, they're a lot of force, but, you know, washers just aren't as smooth as bearings. Of course, bearings are the epiphany of the knife world nowadays, but I prefer bearings as well. But again, you know, 50 to 60 bucks. This knife is overpriced for its materials and its original form. Let me see if I got those original scales. I think I might have them right here on the ground. This is what they came with originally. So, you know, the knife came looking like that. It's really basic to me, but of course I did not get it with the purpose. And you can see, you know, these might as well just be 3D printed as well. You know, they're good. They'll keep your knife good for years and stuff like that. But they're just basic to me. It's not why I got it. I wanted a cheap Spyderco that I can have right now. You know, before the end of the year, or maybe even next year when I get a Para 3 again. There's just so many options with them out there for Para 3s that it's even going to be hard for me to figure out how I want to build mine. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of my custom build here. Do you like it? Definitely going to be carrying it a lot this month, specifically for Halloween. It's the only Halloween themed knife that I have right now, so it's going to get a lot of carry for the rest of the month. I do recommend always titanium clips, 100%. they're the way to go. If able to do it, get one. They will make your knife carrying experience better every time, as long as you get a good titanium clip and not too tight of one. It's just something I've learned over the years, for me as a personal preference. Yeah, but with that, like the video, guys, subscribe, become a part of the community. I do custom builds like this a lot. These are my favorite things to do, is customize a knife heavily. Go look at my channel if you don't believe me. It's full of nothing but things that I would love. Not all of my knives are semi-custom builds like this, but a lot of them are. Have at least one modification that I've done to them. Even if it's just the clip, I usually change something about every one of my knives to make them unique to my collection. But with that, enjoy the rest of your Friday, guys, and I will see you in the next video.